Also, Shaboozey's Met Gala look alone had folks convinced his Hollywood humiliation initiation was already in full swing, because basically it confirmed everything Katt and Jaguar Wright have been screaming for years. See, as the years go by, the Met Gala has become less and less about fashion and more about who's gonna sell their soul next under the guise of couture. And y'all, 2025 Met Gala did not disappoint. The red carpet was out here giving looks, dandyism, with a splash of ritual sacrifice as per usual. But before we even get into the humiliation ritual mess, let's not forget, the Met Gala is also Hollywood's favorite stage to flex their wildest fashion stunts and give us a little peek into whatever chaos they've been cooking up lately. Now, you know Rihanna fashionably debuted her third baby bump like she was dropping a new Fenty line, and Andre 3000 rolled through holding the whole industry down on his back as a piano. Now, I don't know about y'all, I know it wasn't real, or at least it didn't seem like it, but it was looking heavy. Like, sir, what were you doing with the trash bag? But one of the eye raisers of the night was the new country rap poster child, Shaboozey. Now, he just made his first Met Gala debut. Now, let's just say it didn't give cowboy. It was giving confused flower girl at a cursed wedding. Like, let's just say it didn't give cowboy, but it definitely gave everybody at the bar getting tipsy. Cause are you drunk? It was giving like sassy flower girl at a wedding. It was a lot of things, but not giving. It could really only be described as like a cropped baby doll blazer stitched together with the turquoise beads, grandma's pearls, matching a grill, and then the Sunday service hat. It was giving welcome to the initiation, and the internet had a time. Social media was on the go, calling out not just his outfit, but the entire energy around it. Like, why is it always the rising black male artists that gotta get tossed into this feminization machine the second they start trending on Billboard? Because listen, Shaboozey is kind of low-key sexy, but they had him out here looking bad. One user actually brought this up on X, or Twitter for the folks still in denial, and summed it up perfectly. Why does every black man in Hollywood get forced into feminization once they reach stardom? Important to note though that this is a user that identifies as gay, but still added that the user was gay, and even they said, even my zesty ad wouldn't wear this. So let's not pretend that this was a personal or free will fashion choice either, because if you zoom in on Shaboozey's face, that man looked like he had seen some things backstage and he was not glowing. He was glitching like a delayed dose of deja vu. This felt like another classic Hollywood humiliation ritual. You know the drill, dress them up like a caricature, throw them on a red carpet, laugh behind velvet curtains, and call it high fashion couture. We've seen it play out before. It's always the rising star who finally gets that coveted invite, only to be styled like a Sims character with a mental breakdown. Meanwhile, the theme was literally about black influence in fashion. And yet Shaboozey decided this was the look to put on as the only black cowboy rapper hybrid? Y'all, something stinks in the water, and it's not the perfume blended with desperation and industry favors. But let's not even start on the comments under Shaboozey's own Instagram post, because y'all, they gave it to him, and his followers did not come to play. One person flat out said, "They got you dressed like a woman." Another one hit even harder. "Every time we got a strong black man making moves, they find a way to make him look feminine. Stay woke, don't wear the dress." This other comment read, "Well, they got bro too." And then came the talks about Hollywood's humiliation ritual. Rapper Shaboozey appears to be a target of a new humiliation ritual at the 2025 Met Gala, arriving in feminine clothing covered with pearls, said the anonymous user. Well, y'all, this isn't just a fit, it was a message, and the message was pretty loud. Welcome to Hollywood, where the price of fame might just be your dignity. And we're not about to let that slide, so now folks want to act like Shaboozey showing up to the Met Gala outfit was just another fashion choice? Be so for real. Somebody online even tried to say this look wasn't too far off from his usual vibe, only that his stylist Anastasia just made a Met version of it. Unless usual now means visibly uncomfortable and something that screams manufactured, then no, we're not buying it. Not even if it was on clearance. Because this man has given us cowboy boots and rugged masculine denim energy for years. Now suddenly he's dipped in pearls, rocking a crop blazer and a Sunday service hat like he going to Solange's wedding? Yeah, no, make it make sense, y'all. Apparently his stylist Anastasia just did a Met version of his usual style, please. But let's not ignore the desperation in the defense. Someone even dragged Prince into it like that's gonna change the math. But Prince wore heels, but that's exactly the point. And folks were like, yes, Prince owned it and chose his lane and was consistent on his style and identity from the jump. So there's a difference between authentic artistry and Hollywood's little puppeteer games. You can't compare a cultural icon who ran the game on his own terms with someone who looked like they got peer pressured backstage before the carpet. And Shaboozey didn't just wear something different. He pulled a full 180 at the most visible event of the year. And timing, well, yeah, timing is everything. When folks pull a move like this only once they touch Hollywood's golden carpet, it starts to reek of something else. Y'all can call it style exploration if you want to, but a whole lot of folks are seeing ritual energy. And Katt Williams has been sounding the alarm on this mess, and he's been dragging the industry by its full lace front for years. I remember what he said in that Club Shay Shay interview with Shannon Sharpe, right? He clocked Kevin Hart straight up talking about how Kev swore he wasn't gonna wear a dress until suddenly he did, and then tried to act like I made my own decision. No, you didn't. Not really. You made the decision after it was handed to you with a smile and $1 million deal behind it.
Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay. All right.
But y'all, that's the whole point. These dudes don't start trying to play dress up for headlines. They get pulled in, tested, humiliated, and told it's fashion. It's more like wear this or stay broke. And when Katt brought that up, it kind of started to make sense. Since then, folks have been on the look. Not gonna lie, it happens to way more artists than we care to admit. See, the thing is that this isn't just about an outfit, it's about a pattern. A nasty little checklist that gets ticked off once a black man starts getting too popular. First it's the pearls, then it's the agenda, then boom, he's everywhere, but not quite himself anymore. And don't get it twisted, it's not about hating feminine expression, it's about the fact that this doesn't feel like his expression. There's a difference between being soft and being stripped. So if you think that this was just Shaboozey trying something new, bless your sweet little heart. But so many others are seeing the humiliation ritual for exactly what it is, a twisted Hollywood handshake dressed up in sequins and fake empowerment. Now the question is, what exactly did he have to trade in exchange for that red carpet moment?
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts, and is there something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
Cause listen, Shaboozey isn't the first person and definitely won't be the last to strut into Hollywood looking like he lost his bet with the stylist. Because this whole feminization of black man saga has been running longer than some folks' careers. And baby, the receipts are endless. Whether they play it along or push back, the outcome is messy. Let's just talk about these men who've already been through this so-called initiation and how it flipped their careers, their image, and in some cases their whole energy. Cause once you put on that dress, baby, Hollywood don't never let you forget it.
But I'm working every day as if I think that's what
should happen.
Is how it should be. And I'm choosing comedians that also write and work hard and don't steal other people's material. And I'm making sure that they all make $300,000 a season. And I'm making sure that they're not ever signed to me or my conglomerate. And that's why they're successful. No, you can work with me and still be an independent businessman, boss owner like you came in.
Right.
I don't need you to be subservient to me. That's those other guys that make you pay dues.
Y'all remember when Dave Chappelle started speaking about illing tea, right? He straight up said Hollywood kept trying to throw him in a dress for no reason, like no storyline, no context, just girly vibes, and not the good kind. It got so wild that a man had to walk away from $50 million in a Comedy Central bag just to avoid it. And Chappelle was so pressed on this that he legit packed up, ghosted everybody, and flew to Africa just to catch his breath and probably link up with his ancestors real quick. Cause when it gets that deep, only the motherland can help you get through it. Later on Oprah, Dave kept it a buck. He said the pressure was nonstop. One moment that really stuck with him was that when Martin Lawrence told him he was just throwing on a dress for a quick sketch, and Dave was like, nah, this is the last straw. But he made it clear, it was never about the scene. It was about the whole system, a system that in his eyes had been trying to break a black man down slowly, through comedy, through roles, through little jokes that hit a little too hard to be funny. And now that's exactly what folks are seeing Shaboozey do. But y'all, the playbook ain't even changed.
Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in a trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail, so he disguises you as a and he put this dress on, and what? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that.
But you want to know what's interesting? Dave Chappelle too was labeled difficult to work with just because he put his foot down. So Dave Chappelle wasn't the only one pulling back the curtain on Hollywood's shady antics, and neither was Chappelle the only one who's had to walk away from the bag to protect his peace and sanity, because even Mr. Denzel Washington had to make that tough call early in his career. He turned down a fat paycheck for a role that just didn't sit right with him. Why? Because Sidney Poitier, Hollywood legend and walking blueprint, warned him early on that one role could change his whole image. Now, the role in question had Denzel playing a character that basically made a mockery of his own race and even made light of slavery. Like, absolutely not hard stop. The plot followed a black man who was accused of forcing himself on a white woman, and then they tried to take him out. First by electric chair, then by hanging, but somehow he survives both, then proceeds to become a cult hero. It was wild, but to drive the point home, he said there were some Jewish people in the audition room who said, "It's funny." And I said to them, "Yeah, it's like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's a gas." And they said, "Right." And I said, "Right. That ain't funny." So to me, it's not funny to put a rope around my effing neck, and I made a point. And Denzel was like, "Yeah, no thanks." He knew that kind of role would stick with him forever and wasn't about to let that be his legacy.
I called Sidney and I was sick because he told me to call him. I said, "Man, they offered me $600,000 to play the nigga they couldn't kill." And he said, "I'm not going to tell you what to do." He said, "I'm not going to tell you that, Denzel." He says, "But I can tell you this. The first 2 or 3 or 4 films you do in this business will dictate how you're perceived in this business. So you make a decision." He didn't tell me what to do, and I'll give him credit for that. And I turned it down, and 6 months later, I got Cry Freedom.
But here's the catch. The fact that all this went down in the 80s just proves that Hollywood has been on this wave since the beginning of time. And Denzel had to walk away from a $600,000 check. And y'all, that was some serious coin back then, especially for somebody who was just getting started. But much like Dave Chappelle, there's always been a bag on the table, but it usually comes at the cost of something you can't take back, like your peace of mind. And Denzel took that seriously. He knew that the kind of role you accept in the beginning of your career defines how the industry sees you. One wrong move, suddenly you're getting typecast, boxed in, never taken seriously. And that's why folks are side-eyeing Shaboozey and others who switch it up too fast, especially when they're just getting started. Like, y'all, this is the season to build your brand, not bend for it. In fact, from that experience, Denzel has always refused to define himself as a Hollywood actor. He said, "What's the definition of a Hollywood actor?" Denzel asked. "Myself, I'm from Mount Vernon, so I'm a Mount Vernon actor. I don't know what Hollywood means." Now let's talk about Mr. Terrence Howard though, cause man, his story is wild. This isn't just another Hollywood's weird moment. This man is out here risking it all to spill tea recently that's been simmering for years. Much like Dave and Denzel, Terrence says he has been asked to give something up. When he said nah, the industry labeled him difficult and kicked him to the curb. And that was just the beginning. Terrence has been calling out Hollywood's dark side for a while, but his recent claims about Diddy were super explosive. He said Diddy hit him up acting like he needed some acting lessons, but when Terrence pulled up, it turned into something way off. Diddy allegedly just started acting sus, giving looks, pushing boundaries, and trying to flip the vibe, and Terrence shut all that down and dipped.
Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music, and he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f you.
And what's wild is he's not the first to say this. Y'all already know a whole lot of people have hinted at similar vibes when it came to Diddy and how they got punished for not cooperating. So for Terrence to actually come out with this, yeah, it looks like he done playing nice. And the real ones know he ain't the type to chase clout, man.
Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
But people used to think that Terrence disappeared from Hollywood just because he was over it. But no, he left because he was refusing to be emasculated. And they tried to put him in humiliating positions. And when he didn't comply, they hit him with the usual labels: unpredictable, difficult, and a liability. Y'all know how they do. But yes, Terrence has a messy past and allegations, headlines, all of it. But through it all, Hollywood still gave him work. And he was booked and busy until he started exposing the game. I don't know about y'all, but this humiliation humiliation ritual was way too much evidence backing it.
If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
Like a proud man that he is, Terrence said he's not about to shrink himself just to make somebody else's script work. If your story can't handle real men standing in their truth, he said, maybe the story's the problem, not the man. Well, Terrence then talks about how Hollywood has a humiliation ritual for anybody who aspires to make it big in the industry. And this dress-wearing tactic is one of those rituals. Like, you can't be a part of the elite society without giving up a piece of yourself. He said on the podcast that this has led to many promising artists to lose their purpose and eventually their lives. That's when he explained why Justin Bieber is now just a shell of his former self. Because after compromising your dignity for all this, you basically become their prisoner. And once they mess with your mind, they got you for life. And honestly, what the Bible say? What profits a man to gain the world but lose his soul?
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card.
Called Katt. Now he said the man has been demonized with the new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have that power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be able to be strong, but when it's a black man, it's seen as a threat. He also said, I don't want to remove a few chromosomes to fit in someone's story, so I feel they need to expand their stories to allow a man to be a man and simultaneously appreciate a woman's beauty. And y'all, this is a tale as old as time, because just look at Lil Nas X now compared to when he first popped out. He is a completely different person. And y'all, this whole mess might hit black actors the hardest, because let's be real a second for a millisecond. None of these celebs are safe from the humiliation ritual. Just peep Sam Smith's transformation. It's a pattern. So when Katt Williams and Jaguar Wright say that Shaboozey, just like many others, have gotten initiated, they're not just talking out the side of their neck. From Chappelle to Denzel to Terrence Howard, the pattern is crystal clear. Hollywood been on this. A wave where money, fame, and red carpets come at the cost of your soul. And Shaboozey's moving way too fast, switching up right when he should be building his legacy, not bending it. The fear is that if Shaboozey isn't careful, he's gonna be the next one we talk about as past tense. Another talent sacrificed for the vibe. And look, this isn't just about hating on success. We want him to win. But when folks start selling out everything and the very thing that made them special to just sit at a table full of snakes, then that's when it's disturbing and folks have to speak out and up. Because history keeps showing us, once you give it up, you don't get it back. Y'all, this game is deeper than music and deeper than movies. It's spiritual. And once you're in, escaping ain't easy. So stay alert, protect your energy, and stop idolizing these fast-track fame stories. Because behind that spotlight is a shadow that you don't ever want to walk through. This story isn't about Shaboozey either. It's about all of them. But if you've been paying attention, the signs have always been there. So you got to stay woke. Don't get caught slipping. But hey, this is what we're seeing. But what are y'all seeing? Was the Met Gala outfit enough proof that Shaboozey has sold his soul? Or is everybody just reaching? Drop your thoughts in comments because we are reading every one of them. I want to tell you thank you for watching and subscribing because you already know we got more tea loading, so hit that follow. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay woke, and keep your third eye open. Stay woke!